Saturday afternoon. I was organizing my financial documents when the doorbell rang. Caroline stood on my porch in her blue grocery store vest, her face streaked with tears and exhaustion. "Dad, please, we need to talk about Tommy and Emma." She looked different, smaller somehow. The entitled confidence I'd watched grow over 15 years had crumbled. Leaving behind the frightened daughter I remembered from Martha's funeral, I invited her into the living room. She collapsed into the same chair where Sheldon had sat the night before, her hands shaking as she pulled off her work name tag. 4 days. She whispered, 4 days until they complete the foreclosure. Tommy keeps asking if we're really going to lose the house. Emma had nightmares last night about moving to a strange place. What do you want from me? Caroline, I want my children to have stability. I want them to finish the school year with their friends. I want Emma to sleep through the night without crying about leaving her bedroom. She looked up at me with eyes that held no trace of manipulation, only raw maternal desperation. I've been working 40 hours a week on my feet, scanning groceries for people who used to be my friends. Yesterday, Mrs. Henderson came through my line and asked why I was working there. I wanted to crawl under the counter and disappear. But you didn't. No. I smiled and asked, paper or plastic? Because I finally understand what work means. What earning means. What you've been trying to teach us. She wiped her nose with a tissue from her purse. Sheldon told me about your conversation last night. He said, you asked if there was a way forward. There might be, but it would require significant changes from both of you. Tell me. I leaned forward in my chair. I'll pay Tommy and Emma's school tuition directly to Centura Academy. I'll cover their clothing, medical expenses, sports activities, and music lessons. I'll establish college funds for both of them. Caroline's face brightened with the first hope I'd seen in weeks. But, I continued, I won't pay your mortgage, car payments, insurance, or any adult lifestyle expenses. You and Sheldon will live within your actual means. Period. We can do that. We'll downsize. In a smaller place. There's more. I want public acknowledgement of the 15 years and $976,000 I've provided. I want sincere public apologies for the disrespect and entitlement. I want genuine gratitude. Not just when you need something. Caroline's face crumpled. Sheldon will never agree to public apologies. His pride. Then his pride is more important than his children's stability. We sat in silence while she processed this reality. What kind of public acknowledgement? A letter to the community newspaper explaining how I've supported your family and thanking me for my generosity. An honest Facebook post about 15 years of financial help. Face-to-face apologies to the people you've lied to over the past 2 weeks. And if we do this, all of it, your children will have educational security and grandfather's love. You'll have a relationship with me based on honesty and mutual respect. But you'll also have a lifestyle limited by what you and Sheldon actually earn. Caroline covered her face with her hands. I don't know if I can convince him. You have 48 hours to decide. After that, the offer expires. She stood slowly, her grocery vest wrinkled from the long day. At the door, she turned back. Dad, thank you for still caring about Tommy and Emma. I never stopped caring about any of you. Caroline, I just stopped enabling you. After she drove away in the old Honda, I sat in my living room watching the evening news. Somewhere across town, a very difficult conversation was about to begin. Caroline's Honda pulled into their driveway at 5:30 p.m. Through my neighbor Dave's later account, I learned how the evening unfolded. Sheldon was heating leftover pizza when Caroline entered the kitchen. Still wearing her grocery vest, he looked up from the microwave, noting her red-rimmed eyes and exhausted posture. Where have you been? Your shift ended at 3. I went to see Dad. The microwave beeped in the silence that followed. Sheldon pulled out the steaming pizza, set it on the counter, and turned to face his wife fully. You went behind my back after everything we discussed about handling this together. We're out of time. Sheldon, 4 days until foreclosure. The children are terrified. I had to try something. Caroline sank into a kitchen chair, pulling off her name tag with trembling fingers. He's willing to help. But there are conditions. What kind of conditions? He'll pay for Tommy and Emma's school, clothes, activities, medical expenses. He'll set up college funds for both of them. Sheldon's face brightened. That's fantastic. When does he restart the mortgage payments? He doesn't. We have to live on what we actually earn. The brightness faded instantly. That's impossible. You know our expenses. He wants something else. 2. Caroline's voice dropped to barely above a whisper. Public apologies. Acknowledgement of the 15 years and $976. 000. He supported us. Sheldon's face went white, then red. He wants me to humiliate myself publicly. Admit I've been what? A charity case. Sheldon, he spent nearly $1 million on us. $1 million. Do you understand what that means? It means he chose to help family. That's what fathers do. Caroline stood up slowly. Her grocery vest wrinkled and stained. No, that's what saints do. And we treated him like an ATM. From upstairs came the sound of Tommy's voice calling down. Mom, Dad, why are you yelling? Both parents stopped. Realizing their voices had risen, Emma appeared at the top of the stairs in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes. Are you fighting about Grandpa again? Caroline climbed the stairs to comfort her daughter while Sheldon paced the kitchen, his hands clenched into fists. When Caroline returned 20 minutes later, she found him staring at the foreclosure notice on the counter. I won't do it, he said without looking up. I won't stand in front of our neighbors and admit I'm a failure who couldn't provide for his own family. Then what's your solution? Where are we going to live? Where will the children go to school? We'll figure something out. Get a loan. File for bankruptcy. Something. Anything but crawling to your father and begging forgiveness for imaginary sins. Caroline pulled out her phone and opened the calculator app. Okay, let's figure it out. Our combined monthly income is $6. Jobay. The mortgage is $2,875. That leaves $4,025 for everything else. She continued typing numbers. Car payment for the Honda. Sambay Wusher. Insurance. Lambay Wusher. Utilities. Sambay. Groceries. Lubay. Gas. Lambay. That's $1. Lubay. Leaving us $2,425. Se. We can make it work. I haven't added the children's expenses yet. Tommy's baseball league. $120 monthly. Emma's dance class. Basher. Both kids' school supplies. Clothes. Medical copays. Birthday parties. Christmas gifts. Caroline's voice cracked. Sheldon. We can't afford our children. Through the thin walls. Tommy's voice drifted down again. Mom? Emma's crying. She says we're going to be homeless. Caroline looked at her husband with eyes that held no trace of the entitled woman who had demanded her father restore their payments 2 weeks ago. We have 36 hours to decide. Dad's offer expires Monday at noon. She walked upstairs to comfort her children, leaving Sheldon alone in the kitchen with the foreclosure notice and a calculator that couldn't make their impossible mathematics work. Monday morning at 10:15, the Honda pulled into my driveway, carrying all 4 of them, through my front window. I watched Sheldon emerge from the passenger seat with the defeated posture of a man who'd spent the night staring at ceilings. Caroline knocked on my door, flanked by Tommy and Emma in their school clothes. Sheldon stood behind them, his business shirt wrinkled, his eyes rimmed with exhaustion. Dad, we need to accept your offer. All of it. I invited them into my living room. The children settled on my couch while Caroline took the same chair she'd occupied Saturday. Sheldon remained standing, his hands clasped behind his back like a defendant awaiting sentencing. The bank called this morning. Caroline continued. Foreclosure completes at 3:00 p.m. unless we pay $8. Liubai Arshawu. We don't have it. Emma tugged on my sleeve. Grandpa, are we really going to lose our house? Not if I can help it. Sweetheart, Sheldon cleared his throat. Mark, I need to say some things. He walked to my mantel, studying the wedding photo of Martha and me, then turned to face his family. 15 years ago, you offered to help us temporarily. I took that help and turned it into a permanent arrangement without ever acknowledging what you were sacrificing. His voice cracked slightly. I told people the house renovations were from my success at work. I bragged about the cars like I'd earned them. I let Tommy and Emma think their grandfather was just being nice instead of being their actual provider. Caroline reached over and took Emma's hand. Dad, I owe you apologies. 2. I took your generosity and treated it like inheritance. Like something I deserved instead of something you chose to give. You paid our mortgage for 15 years. Sheldon added, 504美元. Ling ling ling. You paid our car loans. Insurance. School tuition. Medical bills. Vacations. Christmas gifts. Birthday parties. Dance class. Baseball leagues. Tommy looked up with wide eyes. Grandpa paid for my baseball. Grandpa paid for everything. Caroline said quietly, almost $1 million over 15 years. Emma's small voice cut through the heavy air. Why didn't you tell us? Caroline's face reddened. Because we were ashamed, not of Grandpa's help, but of how we acted like we didn't need it. I leaned forward in my chair. If I help you keep the house today, things will be different. I'll pay Tommy and Emma's school tuition directly to Centura Academy. I'll cover their medical expenses, clothing, activities, and college funds. But I won't pay your mortgage, car payments, or any adult lifestyle expenses. You'll live on what you actually earn. Sheldon nodded slowly. We understand. There's more. I want public acknowledgement. A letter to the community newspaper thanking me for 15 years of support. Social media posts expressing genuine gratitude. Face-to-face apologies to the neighbors you've lied to. When? Caroline asked. This week, before Saturday. Sheldon's jaw tightened. But he nodded again. What else? Monthly family dinners here. Not to report your finances, but to maintain proper relationships, to remember that family means respect, not entitlement. I stood and walked to my desk, pulling out my checkbook. I'm going to call First National and arrange an emergency payment, but this is the last mortgage payment I ever make for you. After today, you sink or swim on your own income. As I dialed the bank, I heard Emma whisper to her mother, Are we going to be okay now? Caroline's voice was soft. But certain. Yes. Sweetheart, we're going to be just fine. For the first time in 15 years, I believe she was right. 3 months later, on the 3rd Saturday of June, they arrived for our monthly family meeting at exactly 2 p.m. Caroline had been promoted to shift supervisor at the grocery store, earning $15.50 an hour. Sheldon had learned to balance their budget without expecting miracles. Grandpa, Emma bounded through my front door in her soccer uniform, grass stains on her knees, and a medal around her neck. Look what I won at the tournament. That's wonderful. Sweetheart, tell me about the winning goal. While Emma regaled me with athletic heroics, Tommy showed me his report card, straight A's, and a note from his teacher praising his improved attitude and confidence. Caroline set a manila folder on my coffee table. Dad, here's this month's budget review. We're covering the mortgage, utilities, groceries, and car payment entirely from our combined salaries. We even started a small emergency fund. Sheldon, who 3 months ago couldn't look me in the eye, now contributed to our discussions with genuine respect. Mark, I wanted to ask your advice about a potential promotion opportunity at work. The regional director position might open up next quarter. What would it involve? More responsibility, better salary, but also travel. I wanted to make sure Caroline and I could handle the children's schedules if I'm away occasionally. I opened my own folder, organized with typical engineer precision. Tommy's soccer league fee, paid directly to Colorado Youth Sports. Emma's piano lessons, handled through Mountain Music Academy. Both children's dental checkups are scheduled for next month. Covered under my family plan. Caroline smiled, a genuine expression I hadn't seen in years. Dad, I can't thank you enough for keeping their lives stable while we figured out how to be actual adults. Speaking of being adults, Sheldon added, we completed the community service hours Judge Martinez assigned after our public apology letters. Volunteering at the food bank was enlightening. We met families genuinely struggling, not just living beyond their means like we were. Emma tugged on my sleeve. Grandpa, can we show you the thank you cards we made? Both children produced construction paper cards, decorated with glitter and heartfelt messages. Tommy's read, "Thank you for taking care of us." Even when Mom and Dad forgot to say please. Emma's was simpler. "I love you. Grandpa, you're the best." These weren't coached expressions or guilt-driven apologies. These were the authentic words of children who finally understood what love and security actually meant. "There's something else," Caroline said quietly. "Sheldon and I have been talking about eventually buying a smaller house, something we can actually afford on our own income. Not immediately, but maybe in 2 years. When we've built more savings." "That sounds like good planning." Sheldon nodded. "We want to prove we can stand on our own feet, not because we don't appreciate your help with the kids, but because we need to respect what you've already given us." As the afternoon wound down, Tommy asked the question that summarized everything. "Grandpa, are you proud of us now?" I looked around my living room at my daughter, who had learned the value of work, my son-in-law, who had swallowed his pride for his children's sake, and my grandchildren, who finally understood gratitude. "Yes, Tommy, I'm very proud of all of you." They left as the sun was setting, Emma's hand in mine as I walked them to their car. The same Honda that had replaced the BMW, but somehow it looked less like a downgrade and more like a choice made with wisdom. Watching their taillights disappear down my street, I realized Martha would have been proud, too, not of the money I'd spent or the control I'd finally asserted, but of the family we'd become when respect replaced entitlement and love replaced exploitation. The revenge I'd sought wasn't punishment, it was transformation. And sometimes that's the sweetest justice of all. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.